Hello everyone, Storm11 here. Today we'll be talking about the upcoming pattern change later next week that could bring in several problems here. A low may try to develop across parts of the upper Midwest, could bring some snow on the backside, severe weather in a warm sector as well. There's still some uncertainty with the system here, but it's been a signal over the last couple of days here. But we're going to get started with the GFS model here, and let's talk about what's going on right now because we do have a couple things. Number one is that we got some thunderstorms are going across parts of Texas. In the Great Lakes region, we got lake effect rain and snow showers up there. One of the National Reserve's offices in Michigan was able to record 9 inches of snow up there just from lake effect snow, which is pretty cool to say the least. But enjoy this while you can because the lake effect snowfall machine is going to turn off later this week here as this cold air, this big trough out here, it's going to be moving out off to the northeast and everybody will start to turn a little bit on the milder side. We're actually forecasting above average temperatures again early next week, and temperatures probably in the 50s and 60s for areas up in the Great Lakes region for highs. Meanwhile, into the overnight hours tonight, there could be some snow showers up in the higher elevations in North Carolina and eastern Tennessee. So anybody's going to be taking vacation down in the Smoky Mountains, you might be able to see a couple inches of snow up there if they have those roads open up there in that national park area as well. So enjoy it while you can there as well because that snow is not going to last much longer there either. Eventually, this piece of energy here will finally move off to the northeast as well. And we may be able to see a coastal low, maybe a little bit of a coastal low here. It's pretty far offshore here, but it could lead to some higher waves kind of along the east coastline as well. But the next one after that is the one we may need to pay attention to as well. So this is now getting to November the 7th. You got this coastal low that's starting to develop off the coast of North Carolina and South Carolina. Now, there's some uncertainties here of how close to the coastline it will be. It seems pretty likely for the Carolinas that could see some impacts, but up along the northeast coast, some uncertainties do rise there. There could be some showers out there, but I think the biggest issue here is going to be that coastal flooding threat with the system here as well. So this is going to be another system to watch for as well. And you can see there how it deepens into a sub 1,000 millibar low. If you guys were paying attention up to the northwest, areas up there will be getting multiple waves of energy, or other words, showers, and at times heavy snow in the higher elevations up there. Here comes another strong low here from the GFS. Goes on shore into California, brings heavy snow for the Sierra Mountains. Goes away very quickly though. And then at this point here, this is where the pattern change starts to begin here. You got this ridge of high pressure over the Great Lakes region, keeping things dry. It's cool. Here off to the east here, it's mild for a lot of people in the central United States here. Above average temperatures, probably about 10 to 15 degrees above average for a lot of areas out there. This is going to be where your pattern change is going to come in. And pay attention over here, which you can see there at the same time. There we got snow in the Rockies. This is where things get interesting here. Now, this is something a little new that came out with the GFS model here. So a low develops off of the Rockies in New Mexico, Colorado, and it moves out into parts of the Ozarks. And you can see here it deepens fairly quickly as well. And look out ahead of this low here. You see these black lines here? These are isobars, and the closer the isobars are, or the isobars I should say, the stronger the winds are going to be. And now the cold air is still a little bit behind here, but this is going to be another reinforcing shot here behind here. You got two cold fronts. You got one here and another one coming in behind it. Excellent. Watch what happens here. So you got this big system that moves off up to the northeast. Could bring us some severe weather across parts of the Ohio Valley region. Maybe as early as November the 11th here. But then again, GFS does have that progression bias, so it may be a little too fast. But things get very interesting as we get later on down the road. Eventually, this frontier becomes stationary. Could be talking about near blizzard conditions on the west side of that low there, on the back side of it, northeastern Minnesota. Could see some heavy snow, could be near blizzard conditions. Now we're getting pretty far out in the range here, almost 10 days out. So take this as a grain of salt here. Things may change. Then watch what happens here. Another low develops along that front there down by Texas, and look what happens here. Check that out. But then again, things may change. You got a strong low that develops over Illinois. Severe weather possibly in the parts of the Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley region again. Heavy snow on the backside of it as well. Very windy out in the warm sector too. You could definitely tell by those isobars. This is peak time heating for Friday afternoon. You see some possibly some big time severe weather out in the warm sector as well. Meanwhile, big time snow on the backside of the low as well. And then colder than normal temperatures come in. Could bring in, this is very interesting though. Literally, Friday afternoon, you'd be talking about thunderstorms and severe weather. About 24 hours later, snowflakes. That's definitely very interesting there. It's not the first time that's happened here in Kentucky, but that's something very interesting as well. But then again, kind of take this as a grain of salt. It can likely change, but let's check out some other models. Let's see what they say. We'll check out the European model here. And you can see here, pretty much the same situation here. However, for that coastal low situation here early next week, it's a stronger low. It's also closer to the coastline as well. You also notice there in the higher elevations in the northeast, could mix in with some snow. You can see here, look at that. Trying to mix in with a little bit of snow in parts of Massachusetts, which is very interesting as well. It doesn't last too long though. Finally, that moves out. Then we get the strong low that goes for the northern Rockies. And then this is where things get very interesting. So you got 991 millibar low. So this is a little different than the GFS model. This is something the model's been a little bit more consistent about. So low kind of comes off the northern Rockies. And this is peak time heating for November the 10th. You got potentially the chance for severe weather, maybe from northeastern Oklahoma up to parts of Iowa. It's possible. It's possible for right now. Some stronger storms maybe in there too. Then you're going to see this low here rapidly deepen here. So we kind of go for this next couple frames here. And then when we get into parts of Thursday morning here of November 11th, check this out here. This is a pretty nasty severe weather look for the Ohio Valley region. You got this negative tilt trough out here. You got this bowing line of some thunderstorms going along that front as well. So if this were to be correct, could be some nasty severe weather across parts of the Ohio Valley and Tennessee Valley, maybe down to parts nearby the Arlington region as well. And here we go to 18Z. This is the early afternoon. That line of thunderstorms do continue to move on off to the east here. Could be some damage winds with those as well. It kind of stays stationary for a little bit here, but it doesn't look like another low pressure system will develop on that front. But something very interesting for the European model as well. Well, check out in a little bit more detail here. So this is the 500 millibar winds here, and this is Tuesday at 5 o'clock here. You got that strong low that kind of comes off from Montana out here. Here's another strong low coming in behind it. Could bring in some pretty stormy weather from the northwest. And then we get into Wednesday. So this is 5 o'clock on Wednesday here. Got this big low over in the parts of southwestern Minnesota. Here's your trailing front here. Severe weather will try to develop there as well. And then we get into the overnight hours. Actually, hold on. Let's go backtrack a little bit. Let's check out that low of a jet, which is at 850 millibars. Yeah, that low of a jet definitely supports some severe weather out there. You got some strong southwesterly winds here that can act as some wind shear, and that can certainly increase your damage wind threat and possibly your tornado threat as well. One thing to notice though is that there's actually quite a bit more instability than I thought here. I was getting ready to say there's not much instability. There's actually quite a bit of instability out there as well. Check out all that instability up into parts of Minnesota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, and Iowa as well. Then we get to 8 o'clock here. This is where this is where the sun goes down. Then the instability starts to go away. But doesn't really necessarily stop those storms though. They actually start to really get organized into the overnight hours as well. That's probably due to that vorticity along that cold front as well that may help keep these storms going throughout the overnight hours. So this is 2 o'clock in the morning here, and check out this low of a jet here. That's a fairly strong low of a jet if you ask me. Winds up to 70 miles per hour. That's very strong for a low of a jet. This is 6 o'clock in the morning here. Then again, your low of a jet is pretty strong. Winds in some places over 70 miles per hour from parts of Indiana back into parts of western Tennessee, western Kentucky. And you can see here, these thunderstorms are still going on out there, even with no instability out there. These storms are still going out there as well. Here's 12 o'clock here. Then we start to get some of that daytime heating again. Some of these storms try to re-intensify, maybe when it gets to parts of southern Indiana, Kentucky, even into parts of Tennessee, Mississippi, maybe to parts of Arkansas as well. But this is pretty impressive here for a low of a jet in the afternoon here. 67 mile per hour winds here. Here's the GFS model here. Now this is a run behind here than what we were just looking at. This is 6Z. The run we were looking at earlier was 12Z. So just want to clarify that real quick. But you do see here, back on the 6Z run, still shows a fairly strong low of a jet as well. Not as impressive with the thunderstorms though, but if we move it to around Thursday here, doesn't show much away of thunderstorms out there as well, which is pretty interesting. But that low of a jet is still around there too. So it's certainly something to watch here as well. But the European model's been a little bit more of a consistent run as well. You can see here about 10 o'clock, the storms kind of at its peak intensity as well. One problem is that there's not going to be much in the way of instability out here. If we do get to around peak time heating, there's like nothing out here. So that'll probably be a limiting factor into Thursday. But with that vorticity and the higher parts of the atmosphere, it may help keep these storms going. But it is something to watch here very closely here. We'll see what the Canadian model says here, and it shows something pretty similar as well, but it shows a low developing down into parts of Texas here. But even developing down there even shows that risk for severe weather across parts of the Ohio Valley, down into parts of Dixie Valley as well. This seems like a little bit of a outlier of the run here as well. Just saying here, I don't even know if the 12Z run's even finished. No. Seems like it's stuck on hour 54. We may have to look on pit over weather real quick. See here. Okay, we actually do have it on here. So let's actually check out the latest Canadian model run. See if there's anything different here. Really quick here. And talk about that coastal low threat here. Actually further away than what from the other models were showing, which is interesting. And then as we kind of get later on into the time period here, it does show a low developing kind of along the front here. It seems like kind of takes the energy from the northern low here, which is actually much weaker than what some of the other model runs show. But then again, this is a little bit of an outlier run here, so it may change. It's actually trending a little bit more towards the GFS model here. But then again, you do have a low develops in northern Louisiana. And the backside of it does bring in some snow as well. And this is actually the max end of the run here. So a little bit different than what some of the other model runs show. But either way, it does look like a big trough may move into the United States there, indicated by the Canadian model. Let's check out the GFS ensembles here. And this is now getting to the morning of November 11th. You do see here, then again, a big trough that moves into parts of the central United States as well. Possibly some severe weather out ahead of it. You got ridge across the northeast. You got ridge across parts of the west. As well as we kind of continue on here, the agreement gets a little bit better when you get into the closer to the weekend. And the trough looks to get a little bit deeper. Now, keep in mind, this is the mean here of all 20 members here. So just to keep in mind that. And this is pretty impressive here agreement here for 10 days out here from the GFS ensemble. So that kind of gets to show you here how much of the agreement there is for this next system late next week. And you could just see there, the agreement even gets better after 10 days. Very impressive there. And you got this cutoff low out here. Could bring in some, possibly some snow flurries on the backside of it as well. And then disagreements there as we kind of get closer to way past day 10. But this is look at the individual runs here as well. I know it's going to be hard to see here, but this is, let's see here. This is the afternoon of November 10th. You do see here, pretty much all these models here do show some type of low here. You got member 2, it's got one in the plains. You got other ones that's also in the plains as well. And you got some other ones that's closer to the Midwest as well. That means it's a little faster than what some of the other model runs are showing. But generally speaking here, all these models here show some type of low pressure system. Some of them are pretty strong as well. Let's move down about another day here. So let's move to 18Z. So this is now the afternoon of November 11th. And you do see here, pretty strong low up in the Midwest here from several of these models here. See there, member 4 has it as well. Member 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 17, and 19. Majority of these models here do show a pretty strong low, but the placement and the timing is a little bit off as well. So that's kind of the uncertainty here, the placement of the low and the timing. I think timing is going to be the biggest part of the uncertainty here is the timing. Some models are faster than the others, but the majority of these here do have that strong low in the upper Midwest, which on the backside of the low could bring us some snow. Meanwhile, in the warm sector could be severe weather across parts of the Ohio Valley and Tennessee Valley as well. Then let's look into the European ensembles here very quickly here. This is a average mean here of about, I believe, 50 members here is how many members the European ensembles has. And it shows something pretty similar to like the other models say. You got a trough here across parts of the western, well, not the western, the central United States, moving to parts of the eastern United States, ridge across the northeast, ridge across the west here. And this ridge here across the northeast here will definitely slow this down here as well. It's also going to become a cutoff low. You definitely notice here just to the north here, it's getting ready to be cut off from the jet stream as well. So areas on the backside there, you could be talking about below average temperatures and possibly some snow flurries as well. So it's certainly something to watch here for now. But then again, it's something very interesting as well that I want to mention here. But anyways, guys, that's all for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you do like my channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the notifications so you never miss an upload. If you guys have questions about this, put the comment section down below. I answer you guys questions. And I see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.